And like I'm telling you, value people's mistakes. Celebrate. Sometimes celebrate a mistake. I'm perfect with being imperfect. It makes your life that much easier.
What does that mean to you?
Pottery. Pottery, right?
Yeah.
But you can make something perfection out of a wet piece of mud.
Right.
Get close to the perfection that you want. And even sometimes it's still something that's off, but it's unique to that pot or that cup or that bowl that makes that bowl stick out.
We'll say purpose.
Everything stops. In our world where we work at, we have some hot topics that stops the day or stops the moment. I remember I had some employees the other day, had some concerns. Hey, you got to drive to my office right now. No matter what, I had another call. I had 2 other calls I got to be on.
I see.
The most important thing was come to my office so we can have this conversation.
Man, I see that here. You put your team first above anything or something like that.
Yeah, people drive it. I mean, that's our motto of our company. I don't know if Henry remember this. We had probably a year or 2 ago, we was all in a group leadership meeting, and for our company, we pride ourselves for being family owned. And I stood up and said, well, how do we call ourselves family owned if we're willing to cut the legs off of people so quickly and not give up on them? I think too often everybody want to be family owned. Everybody want to take care of people. But as soon as they do something wrong, they're the worst people in the world.
That's true.
So you have to understand that value people's mistakes. Like I'm telling you, value people's mistakes. Celebrate. Sometimes celebrate a mistake. Think about it as a child. If that child never crawled, never fell, never stumbled, would they ever learn to walk? Nope. So there's joy in the stumble.
Right. Well, think
about church.
Yeah.
There's joy in your downfall sometimes. You just got to find it. We talked about it earlier this week. If we don't help find a win, then most people can't find their own win.
Dang. So that goes back to the foundational piece as far as what you said at the very beginning when I asked you about struggles. Well, I really don't have struggles or see struggles. I see them as lessons.
Yep.
And that's how I feel even, as we build this podcast, like every day I'm learning something. Every day I see a mistake. And for me, I get excited when I see that mistake because now I know I have the opportunity to do better the next day.
Yep.
So you just really making this make sense, like as far as leadership and whatnot. So yeah.
It's just part of life, man. Like you're not gonna be perfect. I mean, I think I told one of my employees the other day, I know y'all talk religion on here as well, and I'm not the ultimate saved person. I don't know everything.
You ready for Sunday? Ready to preach?
Looking for that pulpit.
What a pulpit.
It says you are made in the likeness of his image. It doesn't mean that means you're not perfect. You're not going to be him.
Right.
Or whoever but you're still going to be as close as perfect to him as possible.
Right.
Because you're made in his likeness.
Right.
So when you realize that, hey, I'm perfect with being imperfect, it makes your life that much easier.
Okay.
Because who are you living up to? What expectations you living up to?
Okay, speaking of scripture, let's go to scripture of the week. I know we usually do lyric of the week first, but he just started preaching, so I just had to bring it up. So let's go to Romans. Let's go to Romans. We'll go to Romans 8. Now I didn't have a scripture, bro. Okay. But I knew that something would come up in this conversation.
It always does.
Yeah, so we'll go to Romans. I want to say Romans 8, and we'll look at verse 29. And it has a lot to do with what you were saying. And it says, Romans 8:29 says, for those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his son, speaking about Jesus Christ, in order that he might be the firstborn of many brothers. You actually talked about us being created in the likeness and the image. But to you, what does it mean to be conformed into the image of the son? Like, what does that mean to you?
You pottery. Right?
I wanted to say the answer, but I knew you had a deeper one.
Pottery, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You molding with your hand.
Right.
Getting dirty. It's not the most cleanest form.
Right.
But you can make something perfection out of a wet piece of mud.
Right. Right.
Wet piece of clay.
Right.
And if you don't make something perfect the first time, what can you do with that mud? You can ball up again, red it, then try again.
Right.
You can ball up again, red it, try it again.
Right. I
Until
like
you
that.
get close to the perfection that you want. And even sometimes through those pots or whatever you're making,
Right.
it's still something that's off, but it's unique
Uh,
to that pot or that cup or that bowl that makes that bowl stick out.
we'll say purpose. We'll say purpose.
Yep.
The uniqueness is the purpose.
Yep.
Like one of our mottos here is clarity of self equals clarity of purpose.
Okay.
Because purpose is not necessarily what you do, but who you become.
Yep.
Because purpose is what you're cut out for.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So what you're saying speaks directly to what this podcast is all about.
Yep.
Man, I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was dope.
Absolutely.
That was
Yeah.
dope.
One thing I'm picking up on is that you also do a really, really great job of communicating. And even though you have the actions and you're doing your job as a leader, you also communicating with your team and like recapping, like you said, or just bringing clarity to situations through your communication.
Yeah.
Like, is that something you always done, or is it just like how have you figured out that that's the key to getting your messages across?
We still at the church, or are we?
No,
I don't know, just-
we always at church.
I'm about to say, let me know where you want me
Go to Magic City.
I'm saying, let me know where we at now. Yeah, I can shift gears a little bit. And the reason why I say that, just jokingly, right? And especially as males, the greatest gift to achieve you guys' wife and the person in your life, you had to have a communication skill, right?
Yeah.
You ain't have all the money in the world. I ain't have all the money in the world.
Right.
Dang, but hey,
You gotta
had
get
to
some
talk,
game.
guys. You
Yeah,
had to talk.
yeah.
So understanding that talking and influencing came through that path as well. Not saying that's the only thing.
Nah, bro, let's talk about that.
Yeah, obviously.
Because I told him this, and now you're gonna see what this podcast is really about.
Okay.
So I used to like pimp back in the day, right?
Yep.
Like, nah, literally.
I mean, I believe you.
Like, now you know, because
when I say okay, I believe you.
because when guys say like, I was pimping, they talking about player, but I'm not actually like in the game.
Yeah.
And I think one of my gift was like gift to gab. Like it was borderline manipulation. And I told Henry, I said, today I'm afraid of my capacity to influence because of that. Because I'm afraid that it may not be for the wrong purpose. Like, but I see, again, you have a balance with being authentic, being compassionate, and a well communicator. So what is your advice?
So, like I said, I look at all scopes of life. I look at my parents, I look at my family, and it's funny you say it, right? I think my family, male and females, have a gift for gay. We have a gift of attracting people to us. Now, I discovered this in my 20s. So I looked at it as, if I don't take control of it though,
Yeah. Okay.
then I'm going to be like some of my older family male members that y'all here in the streets and playing and all that stuff. Like, I really don't want that life.
Right.
But I could, but I don't want it,
Right.
right? And I think when you realize those things earlier and really self-evaluate,
Right.
then you'll know how to use it the way you need to use it. So now let's go back to the church. Let's say the church, right?
I told
you
him
have
that.
to
Yeah.
learn how to use your gifts.
That's true.
Right? So I would encourage you, and I might be wrong how this quoted. There's somebody in the Bible that took his gifts and buried them.
Nah, that's true.
And the Lord took the gifts away back from him, right? But then it was somebody that used the gifts, and then his gifts kept multiplying,
Right,
kept growing.
right.
So I would encourage you to understand, if that's your gift, you just have to understand I'm gonna make mistakes in that communication at times,
Right.
but I'm gonna reevaluate, I'm gonna reflect, and I'm gonna say, hey, I could do this, or I could have said this different or better. So to the point I said earlier, normally I would have told that employee, man, I'm just joking, just playing. But I had to learn, and I had real life examples. I didn't respond quick enough the way I should have And that's what taught me to respond better now.
So I got exactly what I needed. So you said for one, take control of the gift. And then two, what I'm learning is that I guess I have to really trust in the character that God is, molding within me, like that character, because again, that character comes with humility. I was wrong in saying that, or I was wrong in that, you can do that. So I got exactly what I needed, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. You,
No, yeah.
I'm just getting my free coaching over.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Drop a
trying to
gem.
milk him, man.
Get a ball.
So do you okay, probably the last question I have.
You good.
But do you have any practices or prep? Like, do you just automatically know what you're going to say to your team members, or do you kind of like envision what you're going to say to your team members before you have that initial meeting or team call or what have you?
It's good to always have bullet points. Even for myself, I communicate well, but I got to build on my speech.
Okay.
More, right?
Me
So
too.
clear communication.
Me too.
articulation.
Yeah. We from the South though, bro.
But I got to get better. Right?
Yeah,
Just
that's true.
A trick that everybody has to learn. Right?
Yeah.
You have to be balanced. But I think that's what keeps it authentic for me, though, is majority of the time it's in the moment, so they know I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
What I done learned is I'm also getting more sensitive the older I get. You ever heard the saying, like, man, I'm getting... So, like,
me
even when
too.
I talk to people now, it seems like I get teary-eyed because at the end of the day, like, I say this loosely. I don't want to go anywhere. But I also have a saying that if I passed away today, am I happy with my results?
That's true.
And at the end of the day, I think I'd be okay.
Yeah.
You know, I need to get married. Never been married. Got kids, right? But I don't have to have everything in the world to be happy. And that's why I had to realize
That's
too.
true. Right.
Like, we talked about earlier, six figures is nice. I want $1 million. I want to be able to go spend, freely and not have to worry about this bill or that bill being paid. But chasing that at times also makes you lose who you are.
Nah, that's
Or
facts.
lose the moments that actually value.
I like that.
That actually matter, right? So, I know there was a lot in that communication piece, but
Nah, you made
that's
a lot
what
of
keeps
sense.
it authentic for me. Is most of the time it's just like I was telling y'all earlier. We was talking about this yesterday. I was like, all right, you got to start recording. I ain't gonna be able to come up with these same theories.
Nah, I think you're doing well, man.
Yep. So,
We bring up death a lot on here. Well, at least I do. I talk about.
Nah, that's the man when it comes to death.
I'm always thinking about. Okay, dang, like what legacy do I want my kids to have? What even this pie, right? Like this would be an archive for.
No, for sure.
Your kids to watch, right? Like our kids to be able to learn from. Dang, this how daddy was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. This how he thought about things.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you say that. I remember having a moment with my daughter that I used work to help not manage her, but raise her better, right?
Right.
Her theory is, if, like, let's say I cook, she wash dishes. But she don't want to wash dishes. She don't like washing dishes. Well, I get that.
Yeah.
Who wants to do it? But that's a part of your responsibility, right?
Like nobody wants to work.
It is, right? Now, in probably our households, when we was younger, it was, oh, you going to do it because I told you to do it.
Right.
Or because, it was more authoritative.
Yeah,
Like,
forceful. Yeah.
you have
Do what
to
I
do
say.
this, right?
Yeah.
But through my management style now, I was able to have a deeper conversation and ask a lot of questions to figure out her reason of why. And then I found out she don't like washing dishes. Well, okay, let me teach you why I'm cooking this and then maybe this skilling is done. Go ahead and wash that so it's not so many dishes at one time.
Right.
So I was able to help her manage washing dishes in a better responsible
That's fire.
manner.
Right.
But I went,
That's fire.
and that's what I mean by life and work integrate together.
Nah, that's
So
true.
if I didn't have 30 employees that I had to figure out how to communicate differently with,
Right.
I probably not communicated right to my daughter in that moment, then I become a bad parent, per
Right.
se, because my communication skills wasn't there.
You know what? I'm learning leadership through my my 2-year-old son.
Yep.
Just dealing with him.
Yep.
So that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have to use every resource in life
Right.
to make it through life.
Because I'm learning, I have to be engaged and I have to be intentional with even discipline. Like I know that he knows better in some areas, and in some areas he just don't know. So I know not to discipline him all the time,
Yep.
but just kind of find a effective, like we're doing potty training right now.
Yep.
So just trying to effectively communicate to him, hey, this goes in the toilet,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
versus, hey, you know.
You better do this. I ain't gonna keep telling you this over and over.
Right.
I'm gonna take my belt off. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So it's teaching me leadership skills, you know, even just managing him.
Yeah.
So that's dope, bro.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So
I always like to hear y'all speak this way because I'm definitely the old school. I still got a lot of old school living that I got to get out.
Yeah.
You know, like I got to continue to grow in that manner. But I think too, like one of the things that I kind of struggle with, I guess, would be how like kind of like what he was saying of like you don't want to manipulate somebody, like if getting your team to do something that it really benefits you, it can benefit them too. But you know, I don't know. I just sometimes I feel a little still uneasy. Like, so how do you kind of, you know, what advice would you have for for somebody that is uneasy delegating because they don't want to put too much on somebody?
That's what I was trying to ask, but you did it just perfect. Yep.
or I start off with, because you mentioned the benefit for you, like it's gonna benefit you in the long run, right? And I always tell people, and I used to do this when I was in branch manager roles, assistant manager roles, because your name is not really in the light shit, right? It's somebody else's name in the light. So I always remind my team, hey, take my name out, put your name there. If you're not happy with these numbers and results, then you shouldn't be happy with our performance. Let's do something different, right? I think too often they see our names and be like, oh, that's your responsibility. That's your name up there. That ain't my name. Take my name out, put your name there,
That's true.
and tell me if you're happy with the results. If you ain't happy with the results, we got to make some changes, right? So I think that's the first step, because I make sure my team understands my name is just on the plat. I'm just a placeholder right now. Y'all did the work, I didn't.
Right.
And eventually your name is going to go on this plat one day.
Right.
That's all it is. I'm not out here writing tickets. I'm not out here doing anything like you're doing. I'm just a placeholder.
That's dope.
Because they can't put 30 names on the plat.
Right.
I'm just a placeholder. That's all I am. But understand, this is for your own ownership. You earned this, right?
Right.
And then the delegation piece is, I think I also start with patience too. I would tell you from our seats, try not to let people influence your mind. You just take their advice under guidance, right? Like you just, I take it under consideration, right? But believe in who you are, pray about it, think about it, find that one person you can absolutely like vent to. I think sometimes we vent to the wrong people. So that person doesn't give you what you need.
Right.
So you got to find that right person to really balance it out.
Right.
And those are what's going to help make the decision on where to put people. So, you know, I got an employee on my team, but we didn't know whether they was gonna make it. Right? you know this person, but right now they're thriving
Yeah.
as a manager.
Yep.
Wow.
But imagine if I sit back and allow people to tell me that person wasn't gonna make it, then I could never influence that person like I did. It's my job to influence.
Right.
I don't you could be my supervisor. I want your help. I want your resource, right? That's what you're there for. But this is, you report directly to me.
Right.
I'm just the middleman, right?
Right.
So at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to go through everything with you and get you there because you're a representation of us.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't wait to have my one-on-ones, boy.
You're a representation.
I might be on y'all call, bro. I think I'm ready. I'm ready, bro.
And then that helps with delegation.
Yeah.
That's
Right?
Yeah.
So one thing with delegation, I always tie things back. So, you know, like right now, you know, our bad debt in our area is pretty good. Right. So I assigned this same person because she's organized. She's she'll get the job done. She'll do great follow up. So when we win, she wins. Because I help her create a story for her career.
Yeah.
You know, that's important.
Yeah.
Now our career,
Bro,
hey,
wait.
I help the area balance out this number and have a great number. And I'm over this.
You caught that, bro?
Yeah, it's good.
He said, I'm helping her create a narrative.
And I mean, that's important.
And she needs that.
Because
Like,
the question was like, okay,
not personally, but just like everybody needs a story to.
yeah. Because the question was, okay, this is benefiting me, but really, it's adding to their person's story.
Right.
Yeah, all day long.
What if you got somebody that's not? They don't really care about that person's story. They just.
Oh, okay.
Everybody does. They can tell you that, but
They do.
everybody cares about their self-image, who they are. They might not care like you care, but that's where our role comes in. We have to teach them to care like I care. If nothing more, right?
Man, bro, this is good. Everybody, y'all, they need to watch this. I'm telling you, bro, they need to watch
And
it.
it's what happens. You got the number one person in retention, number 3 on overall. I know he don't like all this time, but
no,
he deserves it, bro. He deserves the spotlight.
We get this game right here, man.
And I appreciate that, but I'm telling you, it's just learning from people,
right.
Even learning from you guys just sitting on the couch, like I asked you about, your son, your kids yesterday. Like, I'm asking for a reason. I mean, I care. I don't want you to think I don't care, but I'm also asking so I can learn from it. Right. So I can be a better person. I'm not gonna do things the right way. I'm not gonna be perfect. I mean, I tell people all the time, I make mistakes. It's okay. Call me out. I don't care what your title look like. Tell me I did something wrong.
Right.
And that's the other part too. When you do make a mistake, you have to be so quick to say, you're right.
Yeah,
I did.
That's true.
I think too often when somebody calls us out for a mistake, we act like we didn't make it. We run away from it. Now I'm gonna tell you, right? You got me,
Man.
My bad. I'm wrong.
You got me.
Put my hands on you. Right? You got me. But that creates that human
Right.
interaction, right? That okay, he's just like me. Like I said, we hear all these sayings. You put your pants one leg on at a time, just like me.
Right.
That's everything in life. Like we just forget the fundamentals because we got grown and think we don't need to be told nothing. We're adults and we think we know it all.
That's true.
I mean, you're gonna learn through the rest of your life up until the day you die.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
I was talking to somebody the other day, one of my employees. The Lord allows you to repent over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
He love us, for one.
He love you, and he know you're gonna keep making mistakes.
Yeah, that's true.
You're
Yeah.
gonna keep
We ain't
sinning every
perfect.
day.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
It's people that still repent up on their deathbed.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the way up until their death, they're still repenting.
Right. Right.
So
And that
if he
repentance
can-
is an opportunity to get it right and keep getting it right and keep getting it's opportunities.
So if he can give you that chance and opportunity, why we can't do that for people?
So you preaching, man. You ready for Sunday?
Yeah.
I ain't that nigga you wanted to do. I ain't that nigga you want. I probably got a little Phil still in my pocket right now.
Man, we pulling out the pulpit, man.
But it's just keeping those things are simple.
Right.
And think about it, like if we be so quick to condemn somebody because they made a mistake. I don't think nobody makes intentional mistakes, and
No, that's
when
true.
they do make intentional mistakes, it's all right to say you did it intentional. I know you did. It's okay. It's okay. Like we all do things intentionally,
Right.
but I need you to make a better decision next time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's important not don't crucify folks when they just trying to figure it out. Because I think sometimes even when they do it intentionally, their heart is in the right place.
Right.
Just that they went about it the wrong way.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
true. That's true.
We talked about my background a little bit. I used to run my own security business.
Oh, really?
back in
Okay.
college. I think me and you talked about it.
Entrepreneur. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Welcome to Be More to Do More.
Yep.
He got some
We
tax
got the
advice.
leader.
He got some tax advice for us too.
A whole bunch of
Now the entrepreneur. Okay.
We ain't gonna share it online. But we all done been in a club scene, a party scene, and
Right.
just been around people where even in the playground, people always talked about respect. You disrespected,
Right.
right? The catch is we all learn respect and disrespect on a different level,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I might step on your shoes and you felt like I just ultimately disrespected you. You ready to fight. Me, I learned it's just a pair of shoes. I can clean them.
Right. That's
So
right.
it's not disrespecting me. And I ain't think nothing of it. Right. But to you, it meant a lot.
Right.
But what people don't give a fair opportunity is to teach somebody how to respect you.
Yep.
Instead of think they're going to respect you.
Yep.
That's true. That's
Teach them how to respect you and teach them what respect looks like.
Makes sense.
And then you'll be able to cut away from a whole bunch of disrespect because you gave them a fair opportunity to learn who you are.
Love it, man.
Especially dealing with people, like when you deal with the public, because sometimes you may have a customer or a client or account or whatever that may say something or do something that rubs you the wrong way, but you got to be able to have a conversation with that person, or don't create the environment where that's even it's possible for it to even come up.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And understand it might come up. Mm-hmm. That's their way of life. And I mean, I got to be a part of it.
Right.
True. That's true.
I'm just okay. Like, I think too often, we want to be change agents,
Right.
but at the same time, there's some things you just can't change in life.
Yep.
Nah, that's
It ain't
facts.
their season to learn.
It's a lot of energy too.
Yeah, it's not their time to get it.
Yeah.
It's just not their time.
Yeah.
Remember, I gave you the scenario. I didn't know what my dad was teaching
Until you was 20s, yeah.
till I was in my 20s and had my first child. But I allowed it to click in the right moment at the right time.
I'm learning that. Well, I've learned that in ministry, because sometimes we want people to, when we preach a word, and the Bible talks about learning how to, give a word in season, out of season.
Yep.
That's the thing. It may be out of season. That word that I'm giving today may not grow or sprout tomorrow.
Yep.
But 10 years from now, that person's gonna remember what I got. People who's telling me something I said maybe 10 years ago. I'm like, when? Like, don't even remember.
Yep.
But it's those seeds that you plant, are they may not be in season,
Yep.
or whatever. So that's really dope.
Yep.
All right, speaking of in season, lyric of the week. Lyric of the week comes from 42 Doug. It says, I told my people when. They all said, show me. From that point on, everything on me. When you hear that lyric, what do you hear?
People want you to paint the dream and almost take you back to Martin Luther King's speech, right? I have a dream. Mm-hmm. If he never shared his dream, the people would never follow.
That's true.
And at the end of the day, he shared, they're looking for the influence where they say, show me,
Yeah.
but they're not looking for him to do it. Just show me and I'll do it. Mm-hmm. But let me share the dream, the path. Too often we hold the dream back.
Dang.
We gatekeep. We gatekeeping, right?
Gatekeeping the dream.
So
That's crazy.
we gatekeep. Like,
That's
why?
crazy. Wow.
You talked about it earlier, like how both y'all. How do we get the delegation down? Is because I'm not holding nothing back.
Yeah.
Because I done heard it before. You done heard this probably before. Even though I might tell somebody the process, I might give them the game. They still can't execute it like me.
That's real.
That's true.
I mean, there's a lot of people that say that all the time.
Right.
But Chris Brown said it. Did he say that? It was a song him and Usher had. And or he was like, I don't wrote for plenty people. Who gonna sing it like me?
That's true. Yeah.
Right? So think about it. Like, when you believe in your gift and believe in your dream, share it. Because at the end of the day, I think we're too scared of competition. But competition still ain't gonna execute like you.
Nah, that's true.
It was meant for you.
You know why? Because purpose is not what you do, but who you are.
Yep.
That was a revelation, brother. Sorry.
Nah, you good.
See, we doing a double sermon. Get ready for Sunday, though.
I'm telling you.
Y'all go back and forth. Just
Let me do the repass. Don't let me do the whole sermon. Let me do the repass. Let me do the hemming and the humming. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just the old one trying to get the crowd going.
Oh, man, this is awesome, bro.
So yesterday we were talking, and I want to make sure that this point is brought up. You spoke about. Can you elaborate or go into detail on leveraging people's strengths versus what they're not great at? And I know we talked about the first base and third base, but I want you to kind of get at, because you use like the Olympic, but
Yep. I've been trying to think about that one. 'Cause I knew it was 5 years ago. But leveraging, what you realize, if you use people in their scripts, eventually they'll have no choice but to work on their weakness.
what you mean by that?
So people would get defeated if you only work on a weakness, because they would never, it won't be a quick solution. It won't be a quick result.
Makes sense.
Because
Right.
it's something they have to work on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you only focus on a weakness all the time,
Right.
they will never win. They will always feel defeated.
You know, that makes so much sense. Keep going, bro.
But if you focus on their strengths first,
Yeah.
you're giving them the empowerment that you are a great person, you are a good person, you do something well. Now let's add one weakness to it, and then we're gonna make that better. Let's add another weakness to it, and then we're gonna make that better. But they'll be able to stack on their strengths and their foundation of being a successful person. So you build the rest of the house up.
So you just built them up brick by brick.
Brick by brick.
Yep.
And I mean, as you said that, bro, I keep getting all these revelations when you talk, man. Because as you said that, I'm thinking like, yeah, man, if I just only utilize my strength and I'm confident, I'm going like, man, what's next?
Yeah.
What's next? I want more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now
Yeah.
you begin to lean into your weakness.
Yep.
Dang.
You attack it instead of it just like trying to run from it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
But
fire,
but you
bro.
got the strengths to depend on. That's the courage. You know, it's a scenario I gave Henry yesterday. We was talking when he was talking about the Olympics. You know, life is a marathon,
Right.
not a sprint. But everybody on the team, you remember how they take the torch and then they pass it off like a baton,
Yeah.
Like only certain people run maybe 5 miles, 10 miles, or whatever.
Right.
But the goal is to get the light to the end to signify the beginning of the Olympics.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So think about how you plan strategically people. Everybody can hold the torch. Everybody can hold the light, but you're only going to get it so far.
That's true.
Until you give it to the next person.
Right.
So to your lyric of the day, we all got to the dream because I showed you how to pass the baton to the next person.
Right.
I showed you how to pass the light to the next person. And then we all win once this big old flame ignites.
Right.
Just like the Olympics.
Bars.
Bars. Love it, man.
Yeah.
Legit,
Kev,
man.
bro, you truly a jam, man.
You know what I'm realizing?
What was that?
Because obviously we had Bo on one of our first guests, and
Yeah, she
now we
was
got
actually the
Kevin
second
on.
guess, huh?
Yeah, she was our second. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing they are way more talented. than I am.
absolutely not.
Like the natural, like it just like comes to y'all,
Yeah.
and it's like so good. Y'all are great.
Well, we appreciate that. Absolutely. Not. Absolutely.
I'm blessed. I get a chance to work with y'all for real. Like
I give you your kudos too. You know, like you said this earlier, we all bring something to the table,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like your analytics, your dial in to figuring out a report. I mean, I tell y'all all the time, y'all are phenomenal. So I have to have this gift because
You gotta lean on your gift.
report like that. So I'm leaning on my scripts. So we all bring some, and you know, that's what makes it great about like our region where we at. Like we all got different
yes,
strengths
yeah.
that makes our region win at the end of the day, right? So I'm nobody, man. I'm just here.
Man.
To learn.
Last question I got. The person you are
Oh
has
yeah.
got
yeah,
you
yeah,
to
yeah.
this point. Who do you need to become to get to your next level?
I would say the person I need to continue to work on is to become the people around me. So I mean that's the biggest thing. Like I want success. I want to keep moving, but I just want to be happy in life and be in a position where I don't need 1,000 friends. I mean, you know, like there's no way you're gonna survive in life like that. But I just want to be somebody that can sleep peacefully at night, knowing I helped somebody. So if I could just continue to help somebody, you know, I would love to come back. We could talk about a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of kept this about people and work, but you know, having a volunteer committee, like all that stuff is really big to me. Like I always wanted to kind of open up my own community center.
Right. Oh, okay.
My dad used to have a daycare, right? So it's kind of embedded in our body. My mom used to work at a school. She still drives school buses now, right?
Right.
She's around kids. So what I need to become is just my community. Continue to become my community, and that will put me in a place where not just from a monetary standpoint,
Yeah.
but just to know I lived a good life.
Yeah.
I was okay.
Man, well, so I got so much from this conversation, bro. I might have to go back and listen to it and listen to it. I actually get to touch this podcast multiple times, so I'm really happy that you came and able to share gems, so I get to hear all of this stuff over and over again. But if there's one thing that you can leave with the audience today, we got millennial leaders who's listening to this podcast. How would you wrap it up? What would you tell them? What advice would you give them, man?
People are the tools of success. And that's just what it is, right? Those are your tools to success. It's not the technology. It's not AI that's coming in. It's not GPT.
Nah, that's true. Yeah, right.
All that is just resources.
Right.
Those are nice, but genuinely, if you don't have somebody that can push the button for ChatGPT, if you don't have the people that can make the platforms for technology, if you don't have the people just to keep water running and lights on,
Right.
where would we be at? We'd be back in the cave days. So people are the success.
Right.
People are the tools you need for success. So keep them first.
Dang, keep people first, man.
I appreciate your compassion for people, bro.
Yeah.
Man, I hope your team watch this because they gonna really see that you love people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is really
Kevin
good.
a statue, man.
Nah, you don't need all that.
You know what? In Macon, they gonna have a statue of bruh in Macon, man. But we'll appreciate you, man, for coming and dropping gems and just being a part of Be More to Do More, man. Hopefully, you gotten a lot out of this conversation because I know I have. I milked this conversation, bro. Yeah. I think I got more than you have, but I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me on here. Like I said, I would love to come back.
Of course.
Great podcast. You guys are doing some phenomenal things.
I appreciate it.
Don't let nobody deter you from that. Right?
Okay.
A lot of people are not going to agree with you. But
right.
Back of the head, they okay.
Right.
They want to do it. They wish they could.
Man.
And you just got to remember that, right? As y'all continue to go through this journey, it works out the way it's supposed to work out.
Man, that's it. See, it's real. He got number gems, number bars.
Full of man.
That's all he got.
Yep.
Well, again, man, we had a great episode today. But guess what, bro?
What's that?
You already know.
Oh, yeah.
You already know.
Oh, yeah.
What am I doing right? We've been telling y'all for like how many episodes?
A lot of episodes.
The What Am I Doing Right journal is here. It's finally here. Y'all be sure to get that link in the description, man. Like, share, comment. Hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell, man. Let's get this podcast out. We out.
We out.
All right.
Peace.
Stick and move, we can get it done. Call it unity, it ain't no way around it. Cultivating, we get motivation from the big guy. We don't play about him. Going hard for the game, showing love.